Welcome to this edition of the Native News Update on this Monday, June 27th. I'm your host for today's program, Paul DeMain. Many of the stories read here can also be found at our website at IndianCountryNews.com, and here are some of the news stories from the day from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. The Cherokee Nation Election Commission has released the certified results of the Cherokee Nation's general election. The certified results show current Cherokee Nation Principal Chief Chad Smith as the winner by 7 votes. The letter of certification shows Smith with 7,609 and opponent council member Bill John Baker receiving 7,602 votes. Baker has until 5 p.m. on June 29th to request a recount. According to a spokesman with the Cherokee Nation Election Committee, every election commission does a canvassing of the votes, and as a result of this canvassing, these are now the official results. The officials stated our early tabulation was unofficial. These are the official certified election results. According to the results of the first canvassing of votes and Associated Press reports, voting results had shown that Bill John Baker had received 11 more votes than Principal Chief Chad Smith. Chris Soap and Joe Crittenden, the 2 top vote-getters in the race for the deputy chief, will face each other in a runoff on July 23rd. The results of all other races remain exactly the same. President Ben Shelley has ordered Navajo Nation flags to be flown at half-mast from June 27th to June 30th in honor of the late Tuba City District Sergeant Darrell Curley, 48, of the Navajo Police Department. Curley was a 26-year veteran officer from Chinle, Arizona, who passed away after being fatally shot and wounded while in the line of duty this last Saturday in Calbito, Arizona. Sergeant Curley's partner, Officer Vernon Begay, was treated and released at the scene. Navajo Nation President Ben Shelley and Vice President Rex Lee Jim issued the following statement. Vice President Jim and I are truly saddened to learn about the tragic loss of Sergeant Darrell Curley. We ask all Navajo citizens to join us in the prayers for his wife Pauline and their 3 children, his parents and siblings, Officer Begay and his family. Every day police officers uphold the law to safeguard our life and property from harm. We appreciate and thank our Navajo police officers at all 7 police districts for their dedicated service and hard work. More than 24 protesters gathered outside the visitor center at Sitka National Historic Park last Thursday to challenge the National Park Service's recent decision to shutter the Southeast Alaska Indian Cultural Center. Led by Gary Hope and Isabel Brady, the respective presidents of the local Alaska Native Brotherhood and Alaska Native Sisterhood camps, members of the local Tlingit community and others called on the Park Service to reinstate the Cultural Center, which has housed Native carvers, artists, and other cultural exhibits for more than 40 years. The Cultural Center was founded in 1969 through an agreement between the National Park Service and ANB and ANS. Both of the Native organizations adopted resolutions last week that challenged the Park Service's decision to cancel the agreement under which Native craftsmen and artists demonstrate traditional techniques in a wing of the park's visitors center. The protesters called the Cultural Center a vital community resource and said the decision to close it down with just 10 days notice was disrespectful and lacked an adequate public process. The Yakama Nation has suspended one of its council members after he was accused of buying alcohol during a business trip last August. The Yakama Herald reports that Yakama council members refrain from alcohol use as part of their office's oath. The suspension of Donald Isidore was effective last Thursday and remains until November. He was elected to the 14-member tribal council in the year 2007. He's accused of buying the alcohol in Idaho. Tribal members will vote on whether to keep Isidore in office. The Swinomish tribe says former tribal chairman Robert Joe Sr. was buried in the tribal cemetery this last Friday following his funeral in Loch Hunter. The 73-year-old, also known as Wawatan, passed away June 22nd in his sleep. He suffered from complications from diabetes. The Skagit Valley Herald reports Joe served on the Swinomish Indian Senate for 26 years from 1976 to the year 2000, with 18 of those years as chairman. He was known as a spiritual man and an influential leader who advanced commercial development on the reservation there. The South Dakota Supreme Court says a Lower Brule man cannot continue his lawsuit seeking damages for alleged sex abuse at an Indian boarding school when he was a student more than 30 years ago. The High Court upheld the lower court's dismissal of the case because Roger Rodriguez, also known as Roger Hickey, waited way too long to file the lawsuit. The lawsuit alleged that Rodriguez was sexually abused in the 1970s by two men who worked for the Congregation of the Priest of the Sacred Heart, which owned and operated the St. Joseph's Indian School in Chamberlain. The Supreme Court says state law requires that such lawsuits be filed within 3 years of the time someone was abused or should have discovered an injury was caused by the abuse. The Cherokee Nation Businesses says it will buy a Nowata-based engineering and manufacturing company with plans to double the company's workforce during the next 3 years. Cherokee Chief Chad Smith says the purchase of Desan Engineering Corporation will help the American Indian tribe create jobs for its citizens. The company now employs 35 people, and tribal officials say hiring for the new positions will start once the sale has been completed. And that is going to be the latest roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of the Native News Update. We want to thank you for joining with us and come back again soon. Miigwech.